Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with a follow-up video for the endgame of Hollow Palm Infernal Blow Chieftain. Now, as I mentioned, Infernal Blow and Hollow Palm is kind of a pretty flavor of the month-ish type Hollow Palm interaction, and it is, well, for good reason. It feels really good to play, and on top of that, it's got some pretty damn good endgame viability. Character at this point has gone ahead and done just about everything I've thrown it at. Well, it has done everything I've thrown it at. Breach Lords, Uber Elder, Uber Fight, the 5-way thing, Cirrus, all kinds of stuff. We are extremely melee, so it isn't the most comfortable for some of these fights, and as I mentioned, you kind of want to really over-the-top damage cap for some of those fights. Since you're so melee, you want to just have your best opportunity to kill something before it moves or does anything. And with Chieftain, there is a bit of a problem with that, because in those extremely large fights like the 4-way Breach Lord and the 5-way Uber Elder thing, that's where your totems, which are a large part of your damage, can die somewhat often while you're trying to keep the totems down, and then that enhances your single target by a lot. That's when you might get yourself in a bit of trouble and have some less than optimal DPS. But you can see the explosions are extremely clean and pretty damn good for things like Simulacrum, Beyond maps, all of that sort of shit. And ultimately, it does accelerate some of the clear on some of the thicker bosses and ad-based fights, something like that as well. And at this point of the character, I did end up crafting a new chest which had 6 white sockets to begin with, and then end up finishing my other chest with harvest of non-green or non-red to red sockets, sorry. And so it's an evasion chest with 6 red sockets, so I've got a full proper 6-link, 6 red socket setup, and that means that I do some actual damage as opposed to using things like Onslaught and faster attacks. So our DPS should be at something like, I don't know, 10 to 20 mil depending on uptime and buffs, and the Chieftain node that gives you 100% extra fire is something you can definitely do your best to manage throughout the beginning of boss fights and that sort of thing to get maximum burst. Because with that up and with your totems up, Chieftain's got to be one of the highest DPS gained ascendancies out there at the moment. So under the right circumstances, yeah, DPS can't really get much better. And we've managed to hit 1500 dexterity with some pretty decent gear, but it's nothing too unrealistic. And many people instead choose to build towards like 2000 plus dexterity. I've tried to branch out less throughout the passive tree and not do split personalities, and mostly focus on like a bit of decent defense. So we've got like 50% evasion, blind enemies nearby, fortify, which is always up and slightly buffed, the leech node from Chieftain, so we are comfortably thick. Like, you can take some good damage, I think, and then run around if you need to sometimes with the totems doing damage, so that all feels pretty good. Whereas I think maybe if you spread your passive tree out a bit more and had to invest more into dexterity, it'd be a bit more difficult, and who knows. In any case, most people play these as raiders, and raider definitely does have quite a bit more zoom involved than this character. We're nothing too fast, but we do hold our ground, have a bit of thickness, and also just pump out that single target. So as you can see, drop a couple of totems, and with the Ruthless procs on the Infernal Blow, when those come up, some of these bosses definitely take massive hits, and it's pretty noticeable in some situations. So there are some high rolls involved with the Ruthless, with our multi-strikes, with the totems being up, with the Namahu's Flame being up, and then of course you got to have your flasks. So it's not always going to be ideal, but this has got to be one of the easiest Shaper Guardian 4-ways I've done, because we just deleted all of them. But you can see we're very melee, still using Tribal Fury though, so no Ancestral Call for the bosses, and then you can kind of get a secondary hit on some enemies quite comfortably. But for mapping, definitely keep in Ancestral Call so you can attack 4 additional targets, or 4 targets total, 3 additional. Actually, 4 additional if you use the Awakened Ancestral Call. It makes things feel quite a bit nicer. And then you have to single target swap when you come to the slightly bigger fights. So I'll leave you just with a Maven. Since the Breach Lord and the Uber fight, I mean, it went well enough, but it's nothing too special to watch me run in, die a couple times, and have to run around in circles. But the Maven, it's still pretty interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed this little Hollow Palm revisit after about a year. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. That just didn't come up in time, eh? I'm just gonna wait. I haven't done the fight in like a couple of weeks as well, I think. I don't seem to be that rusty though. I've remembered the mechanics so far. Making sure I got the right gems in. Okay, so I need to farm flasks for this one. Yeah. Music's a bit loud, I think. It's kind of distracting.
Inescapable.
Yeah, I don't know what this fucking boss does. I had to press flasks for him. I just cannot risk. I ate the entire cascade of pain somehow without dying. I was expecting her to phase over at any second is the issue. Dude, I don't remember what this memory phase was. Oh, thank God. It was in there somewhere. I would have committed on that, but since keks are on the line, I bowed. Oh my God. Platinum Valdo's Rest.
For it continues to play. You and I shall do this again soon.
Oh, damn. We had a lot of doubters this time around.
Memory of your sting will fade soon
Maven
enough,
Deathless.
and so
Yep.
too will her contrition.
Last memory phase or what? Luck? No, like I said, it's in there somewhere. Like, subconsciously, you can kind of remember what they are. And what do we get? Influence monsters, 19% chance, whatever. 10% chance in areas for mirrors and Collider to drop as 2. That's fucking huge.